Good morning everyone, how you doing? It's Paul here from Unusual Things. Now this morning we are at St Michael and All Angels Church in Lymington, and we have come to find the final resting place of Alice Liddell. Now Alice Liddell was the inspiration behind Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland and all the stories, and I'll tell you a little bit more information about her real soon. But what we'll do is we'll have a little look around the church. We'll see if we can get inside today. I don't know if we can or not. It's a very busy high street here. It's early in the morning, so there's lots of traffic going past, but we'll see if we can get in there. We'll have a good look around and I'll tell you about it, and then we'll visit her final resting place. Now don't forget, if you liked the video today, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free, does not cost you a thing. And hit that notification bell, of course. And also to any new viewers that have come to the channel, don't forget there's over 300 videos on there now. So if you're into true crime stories, seeing celebrities' graves or unusual things just on the whole, then go and check back on some of the old videos. We'll have a look around now. I'll tell you a little bit more about Alice Liddell and the inspiration that she was to the books, and then we'll go and find her final resting place. Okay, so as we've been walking around, I've noticed the church, of course, and it's rude not to try the door, isn't it? We have to do it. No, that's well and truly shut. Closed. What a surprise! But there you go. At least we tried. It's a shame because it looks such a beautiful church, and I'd love to have gone in there and had a look around and shown you all. But hey ho, if it wasn't meant to be, it wasn't meant to be.
Alice Pleasance Liddell was one of Charles Dodgson's, the real name of Lewis Carroll, many child friends. She was his main inspiration for the stories Alice Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass, and what Alice found there. Dodgson told her many stories, and the Wonderland story was one of the tales he invented to amuse her and her sisters. Her full name was Alice Pleasance Liddell Hargreaves after marriage. Her date of birth was the 4th of May 1852. She died on the 15th of November 1934. Alice was born on the 4th of May 1852 and was the fourth child and second daughter of the Dean from the Christ Church College in Oxford, Henry George Liddell, and Lorena Liddell. Liddell is pronounced to rhyme with fiddle. We know this thanks to a couplet which was composed in Carroll's day by the students at Oxford. It went as follows: I am the Dean, and this is Mrs. Liddell. She plays the first, and I the second fiddle. The older brothers and sister were Edward Henry, called Harry, 1848, Lorena, 1849, and Arthur, 1850, but died in 1853. Her sister Edith was born 2 years later in 1854. Her other brothers and sisters were Rhoda, 1858, Violet, 1864, Frederick, called Eric, 1865, and Lionel, 1868. She had one more little brother named James, who also died young. It was with Lorena and Edith that Alice went on the famous boat trip, and these sisters appear in the story too. In 1876, Edith died, aged only 22, and just before she was to be married. This was a huge shock for the family. Alice and Charles Dodgson, on the 25th of February 1856, Henry Liddell, the new dean, moved into the deanery at Christ Church. At this time, Dodgson was sub-librarian, and the window of his room overlooked the deanery garden, where Alice and her sister played. Dodgson came in contact with the Liddells via the dean's niece, Frederica Liddell, whom he had sketched. He met the Liddell family in February 1856 during a train trip, 2 months later, on the 25th of April, he met Alice during a photo session with his friend Reginald Southey, on which occasion he was photographing Christchurch Cathedral. He was able to meet her and her sisters properly on the 3rd of June when he photographed them. From then on, Alice, Lorena and Edith visited Dodgson regularly, and Dodgson formed a strong friendship with them. But his relation with Mrs. Liddell and the Dean was not very hearty. By the latter part of 1856, Mrs. Liddell had asked Dodgson not to take any more photographs, and he understood that he was intruding too much. But when the Liddells went on a vacation and left the children in the care of the governess, Mrs. Prickett, it was rumoured that Dodgson had an affair with her, but he wrote in his diary that he thought it so groundless and a rumour. She let Dodgson visit the children again, and this continued when their parents returned. During the period of publishing Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Dodgson's relationship with Alice began to diminish. Her mother limited his access to Alice and her sisters from July until December 1863. He did not see them at all, and after that he saw them rarely. He sent her his books with nostalgic dedications in it. The reason for the break between Dodgson and Alice has been the source of much speculation. Alice was 20 years old when Prince Leopold, the youngest son of Queen Victoria, arrived at Christchurch as an undergraduate from 1872 until 1876. It is rumoured that there was a romance, but Alice was a commoner and marriage was not allowed. Dodgson was not present at her wedding, but did send her, together with a friend, a present. She had 3 sons, of which 2 died in World War I. She lived until her death at the estate in Cufnells in Hampshire. It's amusing to know that Alice called her first son Leopold. Prince Leopold became his godfather, and Leopold called his daughter Alice. Alice was an educated woman. She's painted and moreover lived the life of a landlady. In 1928, Alice sold her manuscript of Alice's Adventures underground because she needed the money to pay death duties. Sotheby suggested a reserve of only £4,000, but in the event it fetched £15,400, an enormous amount of money for those days, and the equivalent to £77,000, and it went to America. In 1932, when she was 80 years old, Alice published her memoirs. She also went to New York because of the centenary of Dodgson's birth and was made a doctor in literature by Columbia University. This was her last engagement on behalf of Wonderland because at that age she got really exhausted of being Alice in Wonderland. She died on the 15th of November 1934.
So there's all the information there about Alice Liddell. Of course, went on to become Alice Reginald Hargreaves. Interesting life, of course, and a long life as well. She lived to a ripe old age. Now, this is a beautiful churchyard. I've had a really good look around and I like this place. It's quite nice actually. And well, I've been having a good look around. And do you know what? I think I found it. Fair, when you walk in, there is a sign that says Alice's story or something like that. So, but you know, I can't go to it straight away. I have to have a good walk around and tell you about what's going on first. So here we are. The grave of Mrs. Reginald Hargreaves, the Alice in Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland. Wow. And she's buried there with the Hargreaves family. So there we have it, the final resting place of Alice Liddell, of course, who went on to be Alice Reginald Hargreaves. And wow, you know, without her, then, you know, the Lewis Carroll would not have written the books about Alice in Wonderland. Well, he may have done, but he may have called it something else or based it on a different background or different person. So massive bless you to Alice and, you know, to many children around the world who watched the Alice in Wonderland books and the follow-ups and all the rest of it. I'm sure they'll be eternally grateful for this wonderful lady and to the rest of the family there as well. So there we have it, Alice Liddell's final resting place. Of course, the inspiration behind Alice in Wonderland. Are you into reading Lewis Carroll's books? You know, are you a big fan of his? Do you like the Alice in Wonderland adventures? You know, leave your comments down below. I've been to Lewis Carroll's grave, so if you're asking, there is a video on the channel for that. So go and have a look. Yeah, such an inspirational story there. So great as well. It's always good to hear these little stories. And you know, it's in Hampshire, which is on my doorstep. It's not too far away, about 35-minute drive up the road. So it's great to come and see places like this, and of course, find out about the backstory. Yeah, if you liked the video today, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. But before we go, I've just seen this grave here, and it's only right that we respect it because it says Admiral Sir Charles Burrard, 1793 to 1870, and Lady Louisa Burrard, 1802 to 1835. We'll have a quick look at that one, shall we? I just caught it out of the corner of my eye, and now I don't know anything about this person, but if they're an admiral and lady, then you know they were obviously of some significant importance during their time. Everyone's of a significant importance throughout their time, but it's always worth seeing little things like that. It's always good to find little bonuses like that whilst you're out and about, working and walking about. It's nice to get them. Anyway, from I can't remember where I am now. Lymington, Lyndhurst. Lyndhurst, that's it. From Lyndhurst. Thank you very much for watching as always, and I'll see you all on the next one. Take it easy.